I want to apologize for that. I want to sit here and tell everybody dead wrong. Give me a few minutes as I break down this mea culpa. And you know what? I should have asked these guys to dig up my previous comments on Stefon Diggs. He doesn't care about being a pro. He doesn't care about winning a championship. He wants to be in a better city. I believe Stefon Diggs wants out, and then part of my explanation is like, hey man, the guy wants out because, he wants to be in a better city. He feels like that, the Bills aren't going to be able to compete with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And so he'd rather be in a different city in Dallas, maybe with his brother, or some city that's easier for his social life and for strip clubs and all of that. And so it was me talking off the cuff, speculating. I want to apologize for that. I want to sit here and tell everybody dead wrong. Dead wrong. That's me copying to a mistake. I want to tell you what I believe I know now, or what I've learned over the past week, and breaking a little bit of news here to some degree. Here's what I think is at the heart of Stefon Diggs' problem. Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, he don't got that dog in him. No. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not committed to the game. He's not committed to the study, to the level of effort that the real top-flight quarterbacks put into the game. Josh Allen survives on talent. And everybody in that organization knows it. And that has been at the heart of the frustration and tension with Stefon Diggs and that organization as it relates to Josh Allen. The coaching staff from Sean McDermott on down, they cater to Josh Allen. They don't hold Josh Allen's feet to the fire. They let him mail it in on talent. And I don't halfway blame Stefon Diggs for looking around. They lose that embarrassing playoff game to the Cincinnati Bengals 27-10. You look across and you think about Joe Burrow and the commitment to the game that Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and the standard Tom Brady set, and you're playing with a super talented guy who's not as committed as the other top-flight quarterbacks, and it shows up in that playoff game. He's not as prepared, and then frustration boils over when Stefon Diggs feels like he's not targeted enough in that playoff loss, feels like Josh Allen not as prepared as he should be for a playoff game, an important game like that. That's what's at the heart of this whole situation with Stefon Diggs and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen,
I'm ready to go.
Not as committed as he needs to be to the Buffalo Bills and winning in that league. And I don't blame Stefon Diggs. So I'm going to have to backtrack. This isn't about, not that Stefon Diggs is perfect. He's not perfect. He's a wide receiver. Quarterbacks are held to a different standard. Quarterbacks have to set a tone and be the hardest workers on a team. Josh Allen ain't that. I don't blame Stefon Diggs. From what I understand, they've worked things out for the moment, that they're good with each other right now for the moment. But this thing, if this season doesn't get off to a good start, this thing's going to spiral out of control again. And basically everybody in that locker room knows who the bad guy is, knows who the guy is that's not putting in the work, and it's Josh Allen.
Whitlock, I don't even know who you are anymore. Really. Who got to you? Who got to you? I don't get this. Let me just start from the beginning. First of all, Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming was this very raw prospect who threw in like the mid-50s. And people thought he was a project. Now he's an elite quarterback. So you're telling me he does not put in the work, even though he's gone from a questionable prospect that many people thought was overdrafted, okay, rawer than sushi, but now he's turned into filet mignon. Every year, this is what Josh Allen does: 5,000 plus yards and around 40 touchdowns. You're telling me that he has not worked hard at his game at all, ever. Completely disagree. And the other thing is he's a white guy.
Taking me out of context. You're taking me out of context, Steve. I didn't say he's never worked hard. I said he doesn't put in the level of work to the standard of a Tom Brady, a Joe Burrow, a Patrick Mahomes, these super elite quarterbacks that are out working overtime, organizing throwing sessions with their receivers during the offseason, putting in that extra work, being a true student of the game. That's not him, and everybody in that locker room knows it.
Wow, so we've gone in 2 weeks from Stefon Diggs wants out of Buffalo to, yeah, he wants to do more 7-on-7 drills in Buffalo. Wow, have you gone full circle? I mean, first of all, and then here's the thing. He's a white guy. Is he even allowed to have the dog in him? Is it possible as a white guy? So come on, who got to you?
You saying Tom Brady ain't got no dog in him? Are you saying people
Brady,
don't think Tom Brady's got dog in him?
A grinder. He doesn't have the DAWG thing. No, he doesn't. That does not apply to white guys generally. But anyway, Josh Allen works hard from what I have seen. You don't.
How do you know? How do you know?
How would you know?
Well, because I'm not pulling it out of my rear end, Steve. I'm telling you what I've learned.
Oh, you've learned. You got sauces.
Yeah.
Wow. This is slander. This is slander. Stefon Diggs is who he is. There's a pattern here. I will say this again. Josh Allen will have another big year. He is the face of that franchise. You're literally the only one.
I can't believe how naive you sound.
No, I can't.
No, I'm not the only one saying it. I'm saying everybody in that Buffalo locker room knows it. Steve. Hey, man, I get that you don't seem to understand. Like, the NFL regular season is relatively easy. If you have talent, you can put up numbers in the regular season. The truth doesn't get told until the postseason. And the postseason and that level of competition generally goes to the guy who's most prepared. And that's not Josh Allen. He's super talented. And he's not the only super talented guy that struggles in the postseason. Lamar Jackson would be another one. I haven't heard anybody say Lamar doesn't put the work in, but I heard people say he struggles in the postseason. There's a reason why Josh Allen, in particular, you go look at that Bengals game, he struggled mightily, and people believe chickens came home to roost from his lack of preparation. So I don't, and I get the sense of humor, and I don't think you're taking a shot at me, but I just want to be clear. When I'm talking right now, this is old school journalist Whitlock. I'm not pulling this out of my rear end. I'm telling you what I've learned.
Okay, so that Bengal loss was a bad look for Josh Allen. I will not argue that. However, just the previous postseason, he was absolutely incredible in the last 3 minutes against Kansas City. And because his coach does not understand when you squib kick it, blew that game. So are we going? So other words, you're saying, regardless of the result, you're talking about the process. Okay? I get it. But I find it interesting that no one else is saying this. So this is going to be interesting to see how Josh Allen is covered, because this is now a story, him and Stefon Diggs. Okay? That whole dynamic is really, really central to how this team's going to do, because that window for the Buffalo Bills is closing. And if they don't have Von Miller to close out games defensively, this team could be broken up here. Okay, I get the sense everyone there gets 1 year to make this current group work. We shall see.
Steve, I just want to stress one more time. This isn't Jason Whitlock, the entertainer, just talking out his rear end. If you, and I know you know this, and we're being somewhat humorous, but go look at my history. I've broken many stories. Many stories. I don't do this haphazardly. I've been out in front. When I can remember, the whole NBA melted down when I broke the story that Derek Fisher had sold out the NBA Players Association and had basically, was working for David Stern and everybody got upset with me. And then Billy Hunter ended up suing Derek Fisher for exactly what I was talking about. I'm not saying this lightheartedly. I'm not saying this to be controversial. And I know I've moved mostly away from journalism, but occasionally I do it. And occasionally I talk to people that put me well ahead of the conversation. And so I get no one else is talking about it because no one else either has the balls, wants the heat to say what they know about Josh Allen because he's been so successful. They don't want it to blow up in their face. Or they're connected to his agent, perhaps, want access to him, perhaps. And so there may be plenty of reasons why an Adam Schefter or whomever you're alleging should be saying this or doing this other than me. There may be reasons. I don't care about any of it. I don't care about his agent. I don't care about being friends with Josh Allen. I don't need access to Josh Allen. I'm sharing what I know. Josh Allen, the reputation in that locker room among his peers is he don't put the work in like these other elite quarterbacks, and people are frustrated about it.
Well,
right now, things are good. But over the course of this season, if this dude don't deliver, there's going to be problems in Buffalo.
I will take you at face value. I'll believe what you say because I believe this. Your quarterback, no matter what the level, they have to be the first guy in, last guy out. And if they are not, they should not be your quarterback. That's the biggest issue with Kyler Murray, right? When they had to put in a clause that he had to get off his Atari 2600 or his ColecoVision, that wouldn't be my quarterback. That's not the guy I'm giving $250 million to. But in defense of Josh Allen, he's been productive. So you're saying now, come January, he's got to go somewhere. You know, I don't disagree. I do not disagree with that, Jason.
Steve, I'm going to ask you a question that you won't expect coming from me, and I don't mean it in any way disrespectfully. And everybody, I love you, and I love you regardless of whatever the response to this is. But if I were talking about a black quarterback, would you be questioning me as strongly as you are about Josh Allen?
I would be questioning you if you were saying something about a quarterback that was as productive as Josh Allen. If that said black quarterback was producing 5,000 yards passing every single year, basically, and throwing over 40 touchdowns, I'd be like, wait a minute. Hold on, the results speak for themselves. Really, because I hold Josh Allen in very high esteem, but I have gone on the record. I thought he regressed last year. I didn't like his game. I really did. I thought there were times that, number one, my old guy, Ken Dorsey, I thought he got too pass happy. I did not like the way they didn't run the ball at times. The red zone efficiency actually has cost them. They're not very good. But my biggest problem with Josh Allen, he plays like a tight end sometimes. I've said that on various shows. I actually think last year, even though cosmetically it looked good, I thought it was not as good as he needed to be. But the overall production the last 4 years, that says right there, you get a little protection from the old Kimster. If you consistently have a baseline of 5,000 yards and 40-plus touchdowns, I'm going to be like, you know what? That guy's putting in some work. That's the reality.
He's certainly having a lot of success, and I certainly don't think he's doing it without putting any work in. But again, sometimes you can be so talented. Talent can be a curse. And again, that's why I think Tom Brady had so much success, being a 6th or 7th round pick and not being some freak of nature like a Cam Newton. And I'll say this, it's like when people started, and I was one of the leaders questioning like, hey, Cam Newton's mechanics aren't improving. Cam Newton keeps relying on that running game, and the NFL is going to catch up with him. And I just think Josh Allen may be a replica of Cam Newton.
Oh, no.
Super freakish athlete.
No.
Super freakish athlete. And again, their peaks may be different. Josh Allen as a passer is going to peak at a higher level than Cam Newton. But is he blessed with so much talent that he feels like he can cut corners that a Joe Burrow, a Patrick Mahomes, a Tom Brady, even an Aaron Rodgers, they don't cut those corners, and does it cost him in the postseason? I'm telling you, that's the prevailing sentiment in that Buffalo locker room.
Jason, here's the difference. I don't think Josh athletically is at the apex of Cam Newton. He's actually evolved much better inside the pocket. He has, because again, you don't go from the throwing percentage at Wyoming to now becoming a guy that's in the mid-60s in the National Football League. Okay, now
here's what I'll say about the Wyoming thing. Here's what I don't know who was coaching him at Wyoming. I mean, seriously. Who knows what that throwing percentage was? If he's playing at a Power 5 school with the highest paid coaches, he's playing at Alabama with their coaching staff, maybe that percentage is 78%. He's playing at Wyoming. And I say that, I want to be careful. I want to be careful because I don't want to out anybody, but I've seen some mid-major coaches that destroy quarterbacks, talented ones.
They might, but generally, if you are an inaccurate passer in college, it translates to the next level. Very few guys have actually gotten better the way Josh Allen did. Another thing I didn't like about Josh Allen last year, because I watched a lot of Buffalo Bill games, there's got to be comes a time where he's just got to be able to pick up the loose change, dump it down into the flat outlet. There's too many times he forced the ball down the field, and I thought that's a bad decision. And there's certain times...
Not a student of the game, Steve.
Or maybe it's just, again... That's where I do have some doubts. Maybe you're right. But last year you said a certain quarterback by the name of Joseph Burrow, that he wasn't it anymore, that he wasn't focused on football.
That was my opinion.
Okay.
That was my opinion. Okay, I'm not basing this off of opinion.
We shall see.
I'm basing it off of what I've learned from people who should know.
Okay, well, Josh Allen's now on the spot. We got our eye on him. Let's see what happens. After he goes 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in January. I get it.
January. Yeah. And I hope, because again, they say there's peace there now, and everybody's on the right page, and the message has been sent, and everybody in there knows what message got sent. And so maybe it'll work out. But there's been some pressure applied on Josh Allen by Stefon Diggs, in my view, from what I've learned, and everybody in that locker room is appreciative of that pressure being put on him.